Hey everybody, that last video got cut off. We just did the nitrogen cycle in the preserve, but not the carbon or the water cycle. And now we're back in my residential yard. What I wanted to say about the carbon cycle is probably pretty obvious. That woods is an incredible carbon sink. It's pulling in carbon and storing it in the soil, just like it was in that younger woods. By the way, older forests absorb more carbon than younger forests. We can talk about that in class. In the water cycle, what I wanted to emphasize is with all those leaves on the ground, there's so little runoff. First of all, the soil is nice and loose, and so water percolates really well. You've got all those roots, and roots make channels, and so the water just gets soaked up by the soil. But also all those leaves there, leaves get super wet when it rains. And so a lot of water will then evaporate off the surfaces of all those leaves that are on the ground, right? So you can walk into a forest in a driving rainstorm, and I've done it, and there's no runoff, all right? There's no runoff unless you really, really get a deluge and you're on a pretty steep slope. So forests are not only sponges for carbon, they're also sponges for precipitation, all right? They hold a lot of water. Speaking of precipitation, it's starting to rain in my backyard, so I think I'm going to make this one short. It's not only raining in my backyard, it's raining in Grand Rapids. All right, so we have the water cycle happening. And actually in urban places, I wanted to highlight the water cycle. It can be a challenge because, there's driveways and there's rooftops, okay? All these impermeable surfaces. So what do? The water runs off and goes down into the creeks and rivers, and well, there's a number of things you can do. One of them, I'll bring you back over here. See, I've got a couple water barrels, and these water barrels catch stormwater off my garage and off my shed, and then I can collect that stormwater. Actually, I attach a hose to that black one and put it out to my garden, so then rainwater waters my garden. All right, so you can do that kind of thing. We can also make rain gardens like I showed you, the curb cuts, but there's other kinds of rain gardens too. So thinking about ways to absorb the water, not have it run off. By the way, there's a lot of municipalities, more and more all the time, that charge a stormwater tax. So they assess your property for how much water runs off your property, and then you get charged a tax for that. So if you have rain barrels, if you have rain gardens, your tax goes down. You pay less